Welcome to the Use What Works series. This is a VCU-ACE early childhood resource for families. The topic for this video is using a first-then visual support. Young children may not always want to participate in activities that they don't like. For example, a young child may not want to stop playing with their toys and go eat breakfast. A first-then visual support is a very simple tool that can help encourage motivation and participation by saying, first the child must eat breakfast, but when they are done, then they can go play with their toys. First-then visual supports can be used at many different times throughout a family's day, and when a child doesn't want to participate in a routine or activity. Sometimes that includes waking up and getting out of bed, and at other times that includes taking a bath and going to bed. There are also times when a child doesn't want to go to the bathroom and learn toileting skills, or doesn't want to participate in cleaning up routines. To make a first-then visual support, start by thinking about a routine that takes place in your home that maybe your child doesn't enjoy that much, and it's hard to get them to do with you or on their own. For your child, that might be something like asking them to clean up their toys. A lot of children don't particularly enjoy cleaning. The next step is to make a list of different items or activities that your child really enjoys. This might be playing games with a parent, playing outside, access to an iPad, playing with toys, or watching a movie. Now think about ways to pair activities a child does not enjoy with an activity that they do really like. Be sure to pair these activities in meaningful ways. For example, if a child doesn't like sitting down for breakfast, it might not be feasible to follow breakfast with a movie if the child has to leave the house for childcare or preschool. It might be more reasonable to pair sitting down for breakfast first, and when they are done, then blowing bubbles with their sibling for a few minutes. Before you get started in making any kind of first-then visual support, it will be important to know what kind of visual is appropriate for the child. Some young children may need the actual three-dimensional object to convey the activity or expectation on their visual support. Other children might be at the photograph level. Some children may be ready for an icon or even a line drawing. As you can see, the representation of the actual activity goes from more concrete to more abstract. The next step is preparing the visuals by either gathering the objects, or taking photos of the objects, or even finding icons and drawings online. Then you will want to print the photos or icons. Laminating the first-then is not required, but if you want the visual support to last longer, you might consider using clear packing tape or even contact paper as a cover. If your child understands real photographs best, take a photo of them at breakfast. Print that out and place it on one side of a piece of paper or board. Write first above that. Next, take a photo of the child playing in the backyard. Print that out and then place it on the other side of the paper or board. You might be wondering why you need to put words on your first-then visual support if your child isn't even reading yet. Sometimes children are reading before we know it, so it's always a good idea to include these as part of the visual support. Now you must help the child understand what the visual support means. Remember that while the pictures may be obvious to you, your child may need help understanding what the visual support stands for and how it can help. When it's time for breakfast, take out the first-then visual support and present it to the child with a brief verbal direction such as, first, eat breakfast, then play in the backyard. Or, use a nonverbal prompt such as placing the child's hand on the photo of the first activity and then leading the child to that activity. This is especially important if this is a brand new or difficult skill for the child. When the first task is completed, show your child the then activity. Use a simple verbal direction like, all done with breakfast, now play in the yard. If the child does not seem to respond after about 5 seconds, then you might even take the photo with the child and lead them to the back door or their shoes to indicate It is outside time. Teaching a child how to use a first-then visual support may take some time. Once you have taught the young child how to use a visual support, then you will want to observe and notice whether the child seems to be understanding and using the support effectively. This can be done very informally through observing and asking yourself a few questions. Does the child tend to start or stop a routine more quickly now? Does the child seem to be more independent during routines when you use the first-then visual support? Do you still have to provide a lot of assistance with the visual support, even though it has been in place for some time? If you do not feel like it is working, then perhaps think of another type of support or consider providing different assistance to teach the support. As you can imagine, a first-then might be incorporated into many routines throughout a young child's day. A first-then is a simple visual support that lays the foundation for more complex visual schedules in the future that have more than just 2 activities. To learn more about ways to incorporate a first-then visual support throughout daily routines, check out our From Breakfast to Bedtime video series. For more information about other types of support, check out our Explain It and Use What Works video series. For more information, please visit www.vcuautismcenter.org/earlychildhood.